President of China amid tensions over human rights and Taiwan. The crash of a commuter plane brings new demands for disclosure of pilot safety records and a human ear growing on the back of a mouse. Tonight, how it happened and what it may mean for the future of medicine.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is on assignment tonight. I'm Paula Zahn. Braced by yesterday's bear hugs and belly laughs with Boris Yeltsin, President Clinton today set out to walk a diplomatic tightrope with the president of China. The mood was tense as they met in New York. But the two sides agreed that the meeting itself was important. Correspondent Rita Braver has our reports.
Posing for formal pictures with Chinese President Jiang Zemin, President Clinton tried to brush aside questions about conflict between the U.S. and China.
These are two great countries that have real interest in maintaining constructive dialogue with each other and wherever possible a partnership.
But everything about this session at New York's Lincoln Center seemed to underscore the strained relations between the two countries. China wanted a full state visit in Washington, but the U.S. granted only a short meeting in New York. It was supposed to happen at the public library, but the Chinese objected to an exhibit that included a section on the Chinese government crushing the 1989 Tiananmen Square uprising. China is hugely resentful of U.S. complaints about human rights abuses of dissidents like Harry Wu. And in addition, the Chinese are still furious that the U.S. allowed the president of Taiwan to speak at Cornell University this summer. At the UN today, President Jiang made it clear that any concession to Taiwan is an insult to China.
There's only one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of Chinese territory.
The two men discussed all areas of controversy today, and afterward, administration aide said progress was made on a number of fronts, but...
This is a process, and as two great countries with different histories and cultures and stages of development, we're going to have some differences.
But the stakes are high for working out those differences with a country that is a nuclear power and is fast emerging as one of the world's economic giants. Rita Braver, CBS News, New York.
Earlier, Jiang and other world leaders addressed the General Assembly on the third and last day of the UN's 50th anniversary session. The president of Bosnia vowed he would never accept a peace plan that led to the division of his country. And Israeli Prime Minister Rabin appealed for a worldwide campaign against terrorism. Rabin's partner in peace, Yasser Arafat, is taking part in the UN session. But last night, shortly after these pictures were taken, he was politely booted out of a New York Philharmonic concert. The PLO chief was told he wasn't invited to the event, sponsored by New York City. In other news, federal air safety investigators today reported their findings on the crash of an American Eagle flight a year ago outside Raleigh, North Carolina. Both pilots and 13 passengers were killed. Conclusion? Pilot error. But that's not all the investigators found, as correspondent Bob Orr reports.
The pilot of Flight 3379 was hired by American Eagle as he was being forced out the door of another regional carrier, ComAir. Flight test supervisors labeled Captain Michael Hillis a panic-prone pilot and
rated him average in knowledge and performance, described him as moody and unpredictable and slow to ask for help, and recommended dismissal.
An evaluation never revealed to American Eagle, and one that proved grimly prophetic last December when Hillis panicked and became preoccupied with a faulty engine warning light and allowed the plane to stall.
At the time the ignition light illuminated was 1, there was no engine failure.
The American Eagle accident was the fourth since 1987 to be blamed on a pilot with a history of failed flight tests. 72 people have died in crashes involving questionable pilots, also flying for Continental, Aloha, and Scenic Air. Armed with that evidence, the NTSB was expected to recommend that airlines be forced to share pilot performance records. Instead, the board backed down. How is it possible that the board members came here today not prepared to vote on these recommendations?
It was a sense of the board today that this issue needed more study.
But one victim's family blasted the board's failure to take on the aviation industry.
We should have known as a public, and American Eagle should have known as a company, that that guy was not fit to fly my son and kill him.
Unless the safety board reconsiders and acts quickly, Congress is prepared to take the lead. Even Republicans believe mandatory disclosure of pilot records is important enough to override their anti-regulation revolution. Bob Orr, CBS News, Washington.
More problems at Denver's new and already troubled $5 billion international airport. Its state-of-the-art ground radar system is out of service for repairs after a near miss yesterday. A United jet landing in a blizzard had to veer away at the last minute when the pilot spotted a truck on the runway, but the radar didn't. Elsewhere in the nation's skies, the attempt to steer more of the space rocket business away from NASA and into private enterprise is having some growing pains. Business is booming, and that's just the trouble. The latest launch went boom last night, and millions of dollars went up in smoke. Scott Pelley has more.
Have ignition of the Conestoga 1620. It has cleared the launch pad.
For American entrepreneurs, space is a dangerous place.
We have vehicle failure.
Yesterday, the Conestoga broke down on the way to the new frontier, the latest attempt by a private company to build a small rocket without massive government funding.
When you're a commercial venture, you want it to work, but you have to have it work at a profit, and that gets far more difficult.
They've exploded in air, gone down without lifting off, but the companies keep trying because the potential is astronomical. Cell phones and computers are creating a huge demand for small satellites, perhaps hundreds of satellites for global communications. What is needed is a cheap ticket into space. But so far, many promises have been blue sky.
We are the first company to bring to fruition an entirely new type of space transportation technology on private funding.
After saying that, his company's rocket ignited and burned where it stood.
The bottom line is that new rockets blow up. It would be very surprising if these new launch vehicles weren't having problems like this. It's simply part of the normal development process.
There are successes. The private Pegasus rocket works 7 out of 9 times, and still more innovative designs are being tested. But for many small companies, making a rocket and a profit is a goal out of reach. Scott Pelley, CBS News, Dallas.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, the abduction of 2 young brothers. Tonight, we'll tell you how it ended. And Bernard Goldberg on the tragic consequences of overindulging a child.
We opened this business 22 years ago. She's obstinate and ornery. She's also my best friend. I guess her hands started hurting her kind of off and on back in March. She worked through it, but she was taking a lot of pills. And I said, honey, why don't you call the doctor? Well, that's who told her about a leave.
You take it every 8 to 12 hours. Tylenol, I was taking up to 8 a day. With Advil, I'd take 6.
Well, she tried to leave. We did a little math, found out for a whole day's relief, a leave cost half as much as Tylenol or Advil. Anyway, a leave was all she needed. Who knows? Maybe one of these days we'll stop bickering.
Don't bet on it.
A leave. All day strong, all day long.
So, what'd you have in mind? Barbara? Well, just a little off the top. Plump, delicious Sunsweet pitted prunes. Sunsweet, always a sweet idea.
On Capitol Hill, Senate Republican leaders said today they plan to revise their sweeping federal budget proposal to restore some money they cut from social programs. The reason? To win over key votes of Republican moderates. They want $60 billion restored to student loans, health care for the poor, and government regulation of nursing homes. Well, for the first time ever, 2 candidates are battling for control of this country's largest labor organization, the AFL-CIO. The election is set for tomorrow at the convention here in New York. Economics correspondent Ray Brady looks at what is at stake for the future of the U.S. labor movement.
Today, they faced off. In one corner, Tom Donahue, the candidate of past management.
I'm delighted to be judged on my record over the last 16 years.
In the other, John Sweeney, the maverick who says he's the future.
If the ways of the past aren't working, find new ways to communicate.
But this meeting sets the stage for more than an election. After years of falling membership, there's evidence unions may be coming back. Their numbers up 2% in the last 2 years. That's so even though labor's been crippled since President Reagan broke the air traffic controller strike in 1981. The difference today? Hourly wages have been going down for 2 decades when adjusted for inflation. At the same time, corporate profits are soaring.
People are worried about the low wages they're getting, about the deteriorating real wages, and they have been responding.
Responding by joining unions, and unions have started winning at least a few battles. In Los Angeles, thousands of union janitors staged a massive sit-down at Posh Rodeo Drive and won major gains.
Janitors earn $4.25 an hour. Try supporting a family of 4 on less than $9,000 a year. It's impossible.
And picketing in minus 20-degree weather, New York nurses, some of them aging grandmothers, won a 16% pay hike.
When the vote's in tomorrow, Sweeney the reformer is expected to win. But the new leader must put on a hard drive, and unions must become more vigorous and imaginative if labor is to continue its slow, steady growth. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
Thanks to Sprint Business, now the world is flat. Introducing flat rate pricing for small businesses on all your long distance, even for Sprint 800 service. Enhanced fax and cellular long distance. One low flat rate for everything all over the country, so you know just what you're paying.
Now that's simple.
Call now for flat rate pricing. 1-800-827-3700. Call Sprint Business.
Hi. Thought you might like a little help.
Thanks, my hands.
Should I get your Advil? I'm trying that new naproxen sodium. But this has special dosing restrictions for people your age. Your Advil doesn't.
I'm older, 66.
And what if you take this and your pain comes back?
Oh.
You may be in pain for hours before you can take more. Doesn't your doctor recommend Advil for you?
You're right. I'll stick with Advil.
Nothing is proven more effective or longer lasting than Advil. Nothing.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
My new denture adhesive is Polygrip Free. One of the reasons why Polygrip Free is so important to me is because it has no artificial flavors or colors. Polygrip Free holds my dentures tight. Makes me feel like I have my real teeth again. Polygrip Free.
From his run for the presidency to the Million Man March.
Jesse Jackson has been making headlines for 30 years.
Now will his sons lead the next generation?
They'll answer questions from our live audience.
Plus, Harry Connick Jr.'s scary new movie.
I'm death and life to you, Doc.
Tomorrow on the new CBS This Morning. It is every parent's fear, the kidnapping of a child. Tonight, there is a happy ending to the story of 2 young brothers who were abducted in Michigan this month. FBI agents rescued the boys today in New Orleans and took an alleged child molester into custody. Correspondent Diana Olick has the story.
11-year-old Aiden and 3-year-old Eliezer Alvarado were taken 10 days ago from this Michigan convenience store. Their mother was in a nearby laundromat. What followed a nationwide search. The boys were first spotted in Alabama. Then a tip led authorities to the suspect's stolen car in New Orleans.
Your mother says that you love children. What were you doing with those boys?
The man in custody, expected to be charged in their abduction, is Boyd Dean Weekly, an ex-convict who was out on bail after being arrested for fondling an 8-year-old girl at a Sioux Falls swimming pool. He recently fled South Dakota, leaving behind his car and frightening evidence of an obsession with children.
There's a good stack about 6 inches high of pictures of kids in his car. He's fascinated with little kids.
There were handcuffs, chains, and a computer printout. Library research on penalties for teenage prostitution and other offenses.
All kinds of sex offenses. There's like 27 things on the paper.
The young boys are said to be in good health. The Alvarados are migrant farm workers from Mission, Texas, who were working the Michigan harvest. The parents are being flown to New Orleans this evening to reunite with their sons. Diana Olick, CBS News, Dallas.
Not much good news yet for another young American, a 20-year-old college athlete who appeared headed for hockey stardom until his dreams were suddenly shattered. Correspondent Peter Van Sant has his story.
He had prepared his whole life for this moment.
We are set to go for the beginning of the new season.
Boston University freshman Travis Roy was starting the first hockey game of the season.
He was absolutely as excited and happy as I've ever heard him.
But just minutes into the match, Travis, wearing number 24, smashed headfirst into the boards.
He's knocked out. He is out cold.
In an instant, his life lay in ruins.
I knelt down on the ice, and he looked me straight in the eye with tears coming out and said, "Dad, I'm in big trouble." And he said, "I can't feel anything."
Doctors say Travis broke his neck, injuring his spinal cord. Surgeons yesterday tried to repair the damage.
Has Travis been able to move his toes, his fingers, move anything below his neck?
No, so far, unfortunately, he has not been able to do so, and we're saddened by that fact.
They're not giving us any false hopes. I don't think they're painting a very real picture, and it's not very optimistic.
Travis Roy's heartbreaking injury has saddened New Englanders, not only because they've lost a future hockey star, but because this freak accident has a singular cruelty to it, wiping away the hopes of a young man who had earned his shot at hockey stardom.
This is something that you just hate to see.
Injuries like Travis's are extremely rare. Since 1991, of the more than 400,000 Americans who play amateur hockey, only 6 suffered spinal cord injuries. Travis's father says his son accomplished a goal.
He looked me again straight in the eye with tears and said, "I made it." For 10 seconds, that was his shift before he went down. He'd made it, and he knew he'd made it.
The Roys have never been more anguished or more proud. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Boston.
As you know, Kellogg's is the raisin brand that tastes so good, people forget it's good for them.
I didn't forget. Forget what? That it tastes good.
No, people forget Kellogg's Raisin Bran is good for you.
How could they forget? With all these raisins, of course they taste good.
No, good for you, for you.
Wouldn't it be great if it was also good for you?
Huh? Save up to $7 on the Star Wars trilogy from Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Star Wars, the original version on video, one last time.
It's a great time to be silver because you're over 50 and you haven't lost your edge. Now there's a Centrum made just for you. Centrum Silver for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
Nobody does it like you.
The new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with 5-brush agitator. Compared to professionals, there's no comparison.
Nobody does it like you.
Were things any easier for him? Was providing for a family simpler back then? Now there's so much information. Decisions are tougher. Strange. I grew up not wanting to walk in his footsteps. Now I only wish I could.
Things are more complex. Ask a Merrill Lynch financial consultant who can help with a plan and more ways to make the plan work than anyone else. The difference is planning. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
The lights were out. John's sound asleep. And what am I doing? I'm hurting. I can't sleep, and I've got to work tomorrow. But I wasn't so sure about taking something. About how I'd feel in the morning. I went ahead and took Tylenol PM. It was the right choice. It stops my pain. It helps me sleep. So when morning comes, I'm ready to go. Right on time. All rested and feeling great. Come on, honey.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM. Now also available in easy-to-swallow gel tabs.
A fat substitute that tastes like the real thing, but won't make you fat. These chips were made with it. Sound too good to be true? Find out tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Aboard Space Shuttle Columbia today, oil and water were in the mix of fluid experiments in orbit. Liquids behave differently in space than on Earth, as the astronauts found out when they used sound waves to shake drops of water and temperature changes to manipulate the flow of oil. NASA hopes all this will lead to new medicines, now impossible to make on Earth, and more efficient ways to store fuel in spaceships. There is remarkable new research taking place here on Earth, including some that will stand the world of organ transplants on its ear. Case in point, an experimental human ear replacement for cosmetic purposes, grown from real cells of cartilage. Dr. Bob Arnott has this eye-popping ear story.
It is a startling glimpse into the future. An ear created by scientists at the University of Massachusetts Medical Center in Worcester, Massachusetts, and grown on the back of a mouse. This achievement was made possible by the development of a polymer mesh. The mesh was molded into the shape of a human ear, using the patient's own remaining ear as a model. Human cartilage cells were applied to the mold, which was then placed under the skin of a mouse to grow to full size. The mesh eventually dissolved. Children like Douglas Lentz, who lost an ear, will be the first to benefit. I think this provides a new era in medicine where we no longer become dependent upon donor organs, where we no longer become dependent upon synthetic materials. The applications of this technology are numerous, from creating cartilage to replace injured human knees, to building human heart valves and even livers. In fact, researchers at Advanced Tissue Sciences in San Diego have already begun to build a heart valve. Rejection of donated organs has traditionally been the biggest single obstacle to successful transplantation. By using custom-designed organs from a patient's own cells, rejection should no longer be a problem. At Children's Hospital in Boston, Dr. Joseph Ficanti is in the early stages of creating new livers.
Anything new, whatever field of science it is, starts as fiction, but we're now progressing to scientific reality.
Doctors are now awaiting FDA permission to begin experimental transplantation of manufactured body parts into humans, fashioned from their own cells. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, Worcester, Massachusetts.
All across South Asia today, from Iran to the Philippines, millions of people watched a rare total eclipse of the sun. It was the first eclipse since 1955 in that part of the world. The next one won't happen until the year 2070.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
It's never too late for Caltrate. Caltrate Plus has the extra calcium you need, plus 6 nutrients essential for healthy bones, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
So at Jenny's school play, I get this cough. Somebody handed me these Robitussin cough drops. They worked right away, and I could feel those vapors. But Robitussin took the spotlight off me and put it where it belonged.
Robitussin cough drops from the cough experts.
Anybody can service automobiles, but you're going to be able to take care of the customer. You can describe them like in your over bumps, or do you?
Definitely over a bump, I think.
They come in to see me because they need something to be fixed. They want me to take care of them. Everybody has different problems. Everybody has different needs. See the way I was going this? To move it back. The quality care standards. It just opens up that communication, lets people know that we care.
Quality care people, quality care standards at your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Presenting the possibilities of plastics. Plastics help save you from dents and broken bones. It helps protect my patella. They help save energy.
Thin light plastics. Fewer trucks. Less gas.
They help save you from being scrambled.
They help save the soda.
They help food stay fresher.
Brussels sprouts?
Plastics can even help save toddlers from trouble.
And this vest helps save my dad's life.
Plastics make it possible.
To build something that endures takes hard-working people. People who care. People with vision. And the strength to see the job through. We know. Since 1904, that's how we've built a name for ourselves in financial services. Providian. Insurance, credit, and retirement savings.
Last night, we told you about an epidemic in this country of what is called affluenza, parents overindulging their children. Well, affluenza can have serious, even fatal consequences, as you're about to see in Bernard Goldberg's America.
Well, how do you feel about what happened? No, you have to tell him how he feels about what happened.
I'm going to tell him. I'm telling him. I'll tell you what. You know what? Tell you what. Let's just call it a day, okay?
This is how our story ends, with a father, Francisco Del Rey, who was trying to buy his son the American dream. This is how it begins. 3 in the morning, the son, Francisco Jr., using a fake driver's license, drag racing down US 1 in Miami in the brand new $40,000 Corvette his father gave him. He was 15.
Corvette, who's in the middle lane,
came speeding by us, and I'd estimate around 130 miles per hour.
It was more like 90 miles an hour when a subcompact carrying 3 young men turned in front of the oncoming drag racers. The Corvette sliced the tiny car in two, killing all 3 inside. Passenger in Del Rey's car was left paralyzed. But this is not simply a story about a terrible traffic accident. It's a story about world-class parental excess. The Corvette wasn't the first one his father gave him. It was the second. Francisco Jr. crashed the first one into a tree. As for the driver's license, his father helped him get that with phony documents saying his son was 17, not 15. But why would a father be so indulgent?
I tried to give my son what I didn't have.
Francisco Del Rey says he grew up poor in Cuba and wanted better for his son.
What are you giving a kid a Corvette for when he's 15 years old? Secondly, when he drives it into a tree, what are you giving him a second Corvette for? And what are you helping him get a fraudulent driver's license for in the first place?
Well, as I say before, I make some bad judgments, you know.
When they arrested Francisco Jr. for killing the 3 young men, his family thought Francisco was the victim, his sister Geraldine.
He's a baby. He's 15 years old.
Francisco Del Rey did catch one break. The driver of the other car had been drinking, and Del Rey was allowed to plea bargain, to admit his guilt and face a lesser sentence.
Would you like to sit there, or would you like
Carlos Brito, Francisco's friend who was left paralyzed after the crash, was allowed to speak.
I cry every day. Every day I cry. You understand? Why didn't you listen to me when I told you to slow down? Okay? If you would have listened to me, I wouldn't be sitting here, and you wouldn't be going through this.
Francisco Del Rey is now 17.
I say please forgive me for my conduct, and that I have often wished that God would have taken me as well.
This is a tragic case. The judge wasn't impressed. Last week, he sentenced Del Rey to the maximum, 4 years in juvenile jail, 10 years probation.
You've been portrayed as an overindulgent father who just didn't get it.
Well, there is...
That's Del Rey's attorney, Simon Steckel, who claims he's not coaching his client, just protecting him because of a $20 million civil suit brought by the family of one of the victims.
Well, what have you learned from all of this?
Well,
now, do you have to tell him what he's learned from this?
No, actually...
Where did this whole thing go wrong? I mean, your own lawyer has said that you were too indulgent.
It may be that I have been too indulgent. It may be.
This week, Francisco Sr., like his son, is going to jail. He got 9 months for providing Francisco Jr. with the phony documents that enabled him to get his driver's license in the first place.
Let's just call it a day, okay?
So this is how our story ends, with the father, Francisco Del Rey, who tried to buy his son the American dream, but instead bought everybody an American nightmare. I'm Bernard Goldberg.
And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, an hour with Jesse Jackson and his sons. Hope to see you then. Dan Rather will be back tomorrow night. I'm Paula Zahn. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good night, everybody.
CBS News. Have you seen your country today?
The news is next. You may feel a little less tension the next time you mail in your tax return. The IRS has stopped random audits. Find out why and what it will mean.
Parents aren't the only ones concerned about weapons at school. Students are scared, too.